My husband divorced me after I got cancer, then tried to kick me out of the house I paid for. My name is Velma Richardson. I'm 63 years old, and I live in Charlotte, North Carolina. I used to believe that love, real love, could weather anything, sickness, loss, change, but I was wrong. The day I was diagnosed with breast cancer was the same day my husband, Malcolm, told me he needed space. At first, I thought I could still fight for both my life and my marriage, but what I didn't know was Malcolm already had a plan, and it didn't include me. If this story resonated with your soul, hit that subscribe button and tell me where you're listening from in the comments. I want to know who's feeling this from their heart. The weight of the doctor's words hung heavy in my chest as I left the clinic, the sterile smell of antiseptic clinging to my clothes. I'm Velma Richardson, 63 years old, a retired school teacher from Charlotte, North Carolina, and I'd just been told I had breast cancer. Mrs. Richardson, it's malignant, Dr. Ellis had said, his voice gentle but firm. I didn't cry, I just nodded, like my body had known the truth before my brain caught up. Driving home to the house I'd paid off after years of lesson plans and overtime, I gripped the steering wheel, trying to imagine telling Malcolm, my husband of 25 years, I thought love could carry us through anything, sickness, loss, change, but the chill in his eyes that evening told me I was wrong. I found Malcolm in the living room, his feet propped on the coffee table, scrolling through his phone. The TV blared a basketball game he wasn't really watching. Malcolm, I said, my voice steadier than I felt, I need to talk to you. He glanced up, his brow furrowed. What's up, Velma? I sat across from him, my hands folded tight. I saw Dr. Ellis today. It's breast cancer, malignant. His phone slipped from his hand, landing with a soft thud on the couch. I mean, are you sure? He asked, his voice sharp. Like, did they run it twice? Yes, Malcolm, I said, meeting his gaze. I'm sure. He leaned back, his jaw tight, eyes darting to the TV. Well, this changes a lot of things. His words landed like a slap, cold and final. I waited for more, a hug, a question, anything. But he just picked up his phone, his thumb swiping the screen. We'll figure it out, he muttered, not looking at me. I stood, my legs shaky, and went to our bedroom, closing the door. That night, I lay awake, the silence louder than his dismissal. What did he mean? Changes things. Was it the money, the house, or me? I thought of our years together, his laughter at my bad cooking, our late-night talks about retiring to the coast. Where was that man now? The next morning, I called my best friend, Tasha, her voice a lifeline through the phone. Velma, you okay? She asked, her warmth cutting through my fog. It's cancer, I said, my voice cracking. And Malcolm, he's acting like I told him the car needs a tune-up. Lord, that man, Tasha said, her tone sharp. You need me, I'm there. Chemo, doctor visits, anything. I smiled, tears falling. Thank you, Tasha, I'll let you know. But Malcolm's coldness grew, a shadow creeping into our home. He started coming home late, his excuses thin. Work's crazy, he'd say, avoiding my eyes as he grabbed a beer from the fridge. Gotta put in extra hours. I wanted to believe him, but his phone buzzed constantly, messages he'd angle away from me to read. I was starting chemo soon, and the thought of facing it alone terrified me. But Malcolm's distance was a different kind of fear. Was he pulling away because of my illness, or was something else at play? My first chemo session was a blur of cold needles and nausea. Tasha by my side, her hand squeezing mine. You're stronger than this, Velma, she said, her eyes fierce. You hear me? I nodded, too weak to speak, but my mind was on Malcolm. He'd promised to drive me but bailed last minute, claiming a meeting. Tasha drove instead, her chatter about her grandkids keeping me grounded. When I got home, Malcolm was gone, his side of the bed untouched. I checked our joint bank account online, a habit from years of budgeting, and froze. My name was missing from 2 accounts, savings and a small investment we'd set up for retirement. My heart pounded. Had he done this without telling me? Why? I called him, my voice shaking. Malcolm, what's going on with the accounts? He sighed, his tone clipped. Just streamlining things, Velma. Don't worry about it. Don't worry? I said, my anger rising. That's my money too. Why's my name off? It's temporary, he snapped. You're sick, I'm handling it. Let me do this. I hung up, my hands trembling. Temporary, I thought of the house, paid off with my teacher's salary, my name on the deed. Was he after that too? I pulled out a notebook, jotting down dates, account changes, his late nights. Something was wrong, and I wasn't imagining it. I thought of Tasha's warning. Men like Malcolm don't change, they just show you who they are. Was this who he'd always been? I started watching him closer, noticing the new cologne, the way he locked his phone when I entered the room. One night, I found a receipt in his jacket pocket for a dinner at a fancy restaurant, dated the evening of my first chemo. My stomach churned. Was he with someone else? I confronted him the next morning, holding the receipt. You were working late this night? I asked, my voice calm but sharp. He glanced at it, his jaw tightening. Client dinner, he said, snatching it. Why you digging in my pockets, Velma? Because you're lying, I said, stepping closer. I'm fighting for my life, and you're out whining and dining? He rolled his eyes, grabbing his keys. I don't need this, he said, storming out. The door slammed, leaving me alone with my doubts. I added the receipt to my notebook, my anger growing. He wasn't just distant, he was hiding something, and it wasn't just about my cancer. Tasha came over that weekend, her eyes narrowing as I showed her the notebook. Velma, this ain't right, she said, her voice low. He's moving money, staying out, acting like you're the problem. You need to protect yourself. How? I asked, my voice breaking. I'm barely keeping it together with chemo. Start with the house, she said. Your name's on the deed, right? Check it, and get a lawyer. I nodded, but fear gripped me. A lawyer, against Malcolm. I thought of our wedding, his vows to love me, in sickness and in health. Had those been lies too? I called my cousin, Lena, who worked at the county clerk's office. Lena, can you check the deed on my house? I asked, my voice low. Sure, Velma, she said. I'll look tomorrow. You okay? Not really, I admitted. Just hurry. That night, I lay awake. The chemo nausea mixing with dread. Malcolm hadn't come home, his phone off. I thought of the accounts, the receipt, his coldness. Was he planning to leave me, to take everything I'd built? And who was he with? Someone from work or someone new? I remembered Miss Clara, our neighbor, mentioning a woman dropping Malcolm off last week, her car sleek and unfamiliar. Was she part of this? My notebook grew. Each entry, a piece of a puzzle I didn't want to solve. I wasn't just fighting cancer, I was fighting for my life, my home, my truth. But what was Malcolm planning? Was he after the house, the money, or something else? And who else knew, watching from the shadows as I struggled? I thought of the hospital bills piling up, my savings dwindling. If he was moving money, was he preparing to cut me off? I clutched my notebook, my resolve hardening. I'd paid for this house, this life, with years of work and love. Malcolm thought he could push me out, but I wasn't going quietly. I needed proof, a plan, and time. Time I wasn't sure I had. Someone was helping him, and someone might be watching me. The fight was just beginning, and I had to be ready. For Malcolm, for the truth, and for whatever came next. The receipt for a fancy dinner Malcolm claimed was a client meeting was just the beginning. A crack in the facade of our marriage that widened with every lie. I'm Velma Richardson, 63 years old, a retired school teacher in Charlotte, North Carolina, battling breast cancer, while my husband of 25 years, Malcolm, pulled away, his coldness sharper than the chemo needles. My notebook, filled with notes on his late nights and the joint accounts he'd stripped my name from, was my lifeline. Proof I wasn't imagining his betrayal. Tasha, my best friend, urged me to protect my house, the one I'd paid off with my own sweat. But the fear of what Malcolm was planning, and who might be helping him, kept me awake, my heart pounding in the quiet of our home. One evening, while Malcolm was working late, again, I searched his car, my hands shaking as I rifled through the glove box. Tucked under a stack of napkins was a receipt from a luxury hotel in Raleigh, dated a weekend I'd spent in the hospital for a chemo complication. The charge was for a suite, 2 nights, with room service for 2. My stomach churned. I'd been fighting nausea and fear, tethered to an IV, while he was living it up in another city. I slipped the receipt into my notebook, my anger simmering. Who was with him, and why lie about it? I couldn't wait for answers. The next day, I drove to Raleigh, my hands tight on the wheel, Tasha's voice in my head. Protect yourself, Velma. The hotel was sleek, all glass and marble, a world away from my modest life. I approached the receptionist, a young woman with a practiced smile, and showed her the receipt. I'm Mrs. Richardson, I said, my voice steady. Can you tell me about this stay? She typed, her eyes scanning the screen. Mr. Richardson was here with his wife, she said, glancing up. Checked out Sunday morning. I froze, my breath catching. Except I wasn't there, I said, my voice low, trembling. And I am his wife. Her smile faltered, her fingers pausing on the keyboard. I'm sorry, ma'am. That's what the record says. I can't share more. I nodded, my mind racing, and left, the receipt burning in my purse. Someone had posed as me, sharing a suite with Malcolm while I fought for my life. Was it the woman Miss Clara saw dropping him off, her car unfamiliar? Or someone from his work, a secret he'd kept? I added to my notebook, January 15th, hotel receipt, Raleigh. Woman claimed to be Mrs. Richardson. The question gnawed at me. Who was she, and how deep did this betrayal go? 2 weeks later, Malcolm came home early, his face set, a manila envelope in his hand. I was on the couch, my chemo fatigue heavy, but I sat up, sensing trouble. He dropped the envelope on the coffee table, his eyes avoiding mine. I can't do this anymore, Velma, he said, his voice cold, like he was firing an employee. It's not what I signed up for. I need my life back. I stared at him, my heart pounding. You mean our life, I said, my voice sharp. The one I built. The one you moved into. He sighed, crossing his arms. It's not working. You're sick. I'm done. These are divorce papers. Sign them. I opened the envelope, my hands trembling. The papers demanded I move out within 30 days, claiming the house, my house, as marital property. My anger flared, hot and fierce. You think you can kick me out? I said, standing, my voice rising. I paid for this house, Malcolm. My name's on the deed. You don't get to take it. It's ours, he said, his tone smug. North Carolina law says marital property splits even. I've got a lawyer. Sign, or we fight in court. I laughed, bitter and raw. You think I'm scared of a fight? I'm fighting cancer. You're nothing. He flinched, but his eyes stayed hard. 30 days, Velma, he said, grabbing his keys. Don't make this ugly. He left, the door slamming, leaving me with the papers and a rage I hadn't felt in years. I called Tasha, my voice shaking as I told her everything. The hotel, the woman, the divorce papers. He's trying to take my house, I said, tears falling. After everything, he thinks he can just walk away with it. Velma, you need a lawyer now, Tasha said, her voice fierce. And you need to find out who that woman is. She's part of this. I nodded, wiping my eyes. I called Lena at the clerk's office. She's checking the deed. But Tasha, what if he's been planning this since my diagnosis? Then he's a fool, she said. You're stronger than he knows. Dig, Velma, find the truth. I hung up, my resolve hardening. I went through Malcolm's desk, my hands steady, despite the chemo fog. In a locked drawer, forced open with a screwdriver, I found a bank statement for an account I didn't know about, with transfers to a name I didn't recognize. K. Monroe. Was this the woman from the hotel? I added it to my notebook, my anger growing. Malcolm wasn't just leaving. He was building a new life, using my money, my home, to do it. I called Lena again, my voice urgent. Lena, you got anything on the deed? It's still in your name, Velma, she said, but there's a filing from last month. Malcolm tried to add his name. It's pending approval. You need a lawyer to block it. My heart raced. He was moving fast, trying to claim what was mine before the divorce. I thought of the hotel receipt. The woman posing as Mrs. Richardson was Kay Monroe her. And how long had they been planning this? I remembered Malcolm's late nights, his locked phone, the cologne I didn't recognize. Was she the reason he'd pulled away, or was she just a piece of a bigger plan? I started watching the house, noting every car that slowed past, every call Malcolm took outside. One evening, I saw a woman in a red sedan, idling across the street, her face hidden by sunglasses. Was it her? I snapped a photo with my phone, blurry but clear enough. I sent it to Tasha, who texted back, "Find out who she is. She's the key." I called a lawyer, Miss Hargrove, recommended by Tasha's cousin. "Velma, your case is strong," she said, after reviewing my notebook. "The house is yours, but Malcolm's banking on you not fighting. We'll block the deed change and counter the divorce terms." "Thank you," I said, relief mixing with dread. A fight was coming, and I was weak from chemo, my energy fading. But I wasn't giving up. I thought of Malcolm's smug face, his demand to move out. He thought cancer would make me soft, but it had made me fierce. That night, I lay awake, the divorce papers on my nightstand, my notebook open. Who was Kay Monroe? A lover, a partner in crime, or both? And what else was Malcolm hiding? I thought of the bank transfers, the hotel, the woman in the sedan. Was she watching me, waiting for me to break? I clutched my phone, the photo of her car, a clue I couldn't ignore. Malcolm was coming for my home, my life. But I was ready. For him, for her, for the truth. But who else was out there, pulling strings I couldn't see? And what would they do when they realized I wasn't backing down? Have you ever had someone try to steal something you built with your own hands? Drop a heart in the comments if you've ever been blindsided by someone you trusted. Don't forget to subscribe if you're still listening. The divorce papers, Malcolm slapped on my coffee table, demanding I leave the house I'd paid for, were a declaration of war. I'm Velma Richardson, 63 years old, fighting breast cancer in Charlotte, North Carolina, while uncovering my husband's betrayal. The hotel receipt from Raleigh, where a woman posed as Mrs. Richardson, and the mysterious bank transfers to Kay Monroe hinted at a secret life Malcolm had built while I endured chemo alone. With my notebook full of evidence and Tasha's fierce support, I was ready to fight. But the blurry photo of a woman in a red sedan outside my house kept me on edge. Who was she, and what was Malcolm planning next? I didn't waste time. I hired Miss Hargrove, the lawyer Tasha recommended, meeting her in her small office downtown. "Velma, your house is safe for now," she said, reviewing my notes. "Your name's on the deed, and we've blocked Malcolm's attempt to add his, but he's pushing for a split of assets. We need to know what he's hiding." "I'm already digging," I said, my voice firm. "He's moved money, and there's a woman involved. I just don't know who." Tasha came over that night, her laptop open on my dining table. "We're finding her," she said, her eyes fierce. "Malcolm's sloppy. He's left a trail." We logged into my bank's online portal, using passwords I hadn't touched in years. My heart sank as we found more transfers, thousands of dollars siphoned to an account under Kay Monroe, starting months before my diagnosis. I wasn't about to let the man who didn't hold my hand through chemo steal the roof I bought over our heads, I said, my anger rising. Tasha cross-referenced the account details with public records, her fingers flying. "Got something," she said, pulling up a name. Kendra Monroe, 33, a life coach in Charlotte. A quick search led to her social media, and my breath caught. Kendra's photos showed a confident woman with a bright smile, posing at Malcolm's gym, at restaurants, even in Raleigh. One caption read, "Weekend getaway with my love." The date matched the hotel receipt. "She's the one," I said, my voice trembling. "The wife, at the hotel." Tasha kept scrolling, then froze. Velma, look. A photo showed Kendra in my living room, lounging on my couch, a glass of wine in hand. The angle was Malcolm's. He'd taken it, capturing her in my home, while I was at chemo, or asleep upstairs. My stomach churned. He'd brought her here, into my space, without me knowing. He didn't leave because of my illness, I said, tears burning my eyes. He left because my illness got in the way of his double life. We dug deeper. Kendra's posts revealed a relationship over a year old. Malcolm calling her his wife at events. Their affair flaunted while I fought for my life. The divorce papers, served weeks after I found the hotel receipt, weren't a reaction to my cancer. They were his plan from the moment I told him. He'd been building a new life with Kendra, using my money to fund it, counting on my weakness to push me out. I called Miss Hargrove, my voice shaking. Her name's Kendra Monroe, I said. She's been with Malcolm for a year. He's been transferring money to her, and she's been in my house. This changes everything, Hargrove said. We can prove fraud and infidelity. Strengthen your claim to the house. Keep gathering evidence. I hung up, my resolve hardening. I printed Kendra's photos, adding them to my notebook, each one a knife to my heart. I thought of Malcolm's cold words. I need my life back. He'd meant Kendra's life, not ours. But why the house? Was it for her or something bigger? I remembered Lena's warning about the deed. Malcolm's attempt to claim it was still pending. Was Kendra pushing him, or was someone else involved? I started watching my street, noting every unfamiliar car. The red sedan hadn't returned, but I felt eyes on me. Was it Kendra, checking if I'd fight back? I called Tasha, my voice low. She's been in my house, Tasha. What if she's still coming around? Then we catch her, Tasha said. Set up a camera, Velma. We'll see who's sneaking in. I bought a cheap security camera, hiding it in the living room, its lens trained on the front door. Each night, I checked the footage, my heart racing, but saw only Malcolm's comings and goings, his face set, oblivious to my fight. I thought of the bank transfers. Why so much money to Kendra? Was she just a lover or a partner in a larger scheme? I searched her name again, finding a business listing for her life coaching. But the website was bare, like a front. One evening, Miss Clara, my neighbor, stopped by, her eyes worried. Velma, I saw Malcolm with a woman last week, outside your house, she said. Young, flashy. She didn't look right. Flashy how? I asked, my pulse quickening. Big sunglasses, loud laugh, Clara said. Drove that red sedan you asked about. My hands trembled. Kendra. She'd been here, maybe still was, staking a claim on my life. I added it to my notebook. February 2nd. Clara saw Kendra in red sedan. The camera hadn't caught her yet, but I knew she'd slip up. I called Hargrove again. Kendra's been at my house, I said. I've got photos, witnesses. What's next? We build a case, she said. Infidelity, fraud, attempted theft of your property. Malcolm's digging his own grave, I nodded. But fear lingered. Malcolm's divorce papers gave me 30 days, now down to 20. Was Kendra pushing him to rush, or was there another player? I thought of the hotel, the money, the photos in my home. Was Kendra alone, or was someone else funding this, watching from the shadows? I checked the camera footage daily, my chemo fatigue battling my resolve. One night, I found a new bank statement in Malcolm's desk, hidden under papers. Another transfer to Kendra, dated days ago. My anger flared. He was still funding her, even as he tried to take my house. I photographed it, my hands steady. Malcolm thought I was weak, but he'd misjudged me. I'd fight for my home, my truth, Kendra's hold on him. But the red sedan's shadow loomed. Was she out there, planning her next move? And who else knew Malcolm's plan, waiting for me to falter? I locked my notebook, the camera blinking in the dark. The fight was heating up, and I was ready. For Malcolm, for Kendra, for whatever truth waited to strike. The discovery of Kendra Monroe, the woman Malcolm had been funding with my money and parading as his wife, was a fire under me, fueling my fight to keep the house I'd paid for. I'm Velma Richardson, 63 years old, battling breast cancer in Charlotte, North Carolina, while uncovering my husband's year-long affair and his attempt to steal my home through divorce papers. With Tasha's help, my notebook brimmed with evidence: bank transfers to Kendra, hotel receipts, photos of her in my living room, and security footage of Malcolm's late-night exits. The red sedan outside my house, driven by Kendra, was a reminder I was being watched. But I was ready. My lawyer, Miss Hargrove, building a case to bury Malcolm's lies. The courtroom was stark, the air heavy as I sat across from Malcolm, his suit crisp, but his eyes nervous. Kendra wasn't there, but her presence loomed in the evidence I'd brought. I laid it out like a teacher grading a failed exam. Proof I'd paid off the house with my inheritance from my mother, medical records showing my cancer battle, the Raleigh hotel receipt where he'd stayed with Mrs. Richardson, photos of Kendra in my home, and bank statements detailing transfers to her account. Miss Hargrove's voice was sharp, presenting each piece with precision. Malcolm's lawyer stammered, his defense weak, claiming shared marital assets. I took the stand, my voice steady, despite the chemo fatigue. I paid for that house, I said, eyes on the judge. Every brick, every shingle, with my money. Malcolm moved in, contributed nothing, then tried to take it while I fought for my life. The judge, a woman with gray curls and a no-nonsense gaze, leaned forward. Mr. Richardson, she said, her tone cutting. You abandoned your wife during her most vulnerable time. This is not just unethical, it's heartless. She ruled the house 100% mine. Malcolm entitled to nothing. His face fell, his lawyer whispering frantically. He filed an appeal, but the judge denied it, her gavel final. I walked out, Tasha's arm around me, my heart lighter but scarred. Malcolm's defeat was only the start. I wasn't staying in that house, tainted by his betrayal and Kendra's intrusion. I listed it, the sale closing fast, and used the proceeds to buy my dream condo on the beach in Wilmington, a airy space with ocean views, far from Charlotte's pain. I moved in, my furniture new, my chemo treatments now paired with sea breeze. But I had one last move, a parting gift for Malcolm. I donated $10,000 to a breast cancer charity in his name, attaching a public thank you letter. In memory of the man who taught me the meaning of selfishness. May this donation do more good than you ever did. The charity posted it online, the letter going viral, comments praising the anonymous donor's shade. Tasha called, laughing. Velma, you're a legend, she said. Malcolm's name's mud now, I smiled, sipping tea on my balcony. He earned it. Weeks later, I heard through Miss Clara, my old neighbor, that Kendra had left Malcolm. With the money transfers stopped and his appeal denied, he had nothing to offer her. She'd vanished, her social media dark, leaving him alone in a rented apartment, his charm useless. I felt no pity, only relief. He'd planned to erase me, but I'd rewritten the story. I settled into Wilmington, my condo, a haven. I joined a cancer support group, their stories echoing mine, and volunteered at a women's shelter, helping others reclaim their lives. One evening, a package arrived. No return address, just a note inside. You did good, Velma. Stay strong. No signature, but the handwriting felt familiar, like Miss Clara's or even Lena's. Was it a friend, proud of my fight, or someone closer to Malcolm, watching his fall? I tucked it away, a question I didn't need answered. My days filled with purpose, walks on the beach, calls with Tasha, laughter with new friends. I framed a photo of my condo's view, a reminder I'd won. But at night, I'd check the locks, the red sedan's memory lingering. Was Kendra truly gone, or nursing a grudge? And Malcolm, would he slink back, begging forgiveness? I kept my notebook, just in case, its pages a shield against his lies. One morning, a local reporter called, asking about the donation. Why do it? She asked, her voice warm. I paused, the ocean's hum in the background. They say revenge is best served cold, I said, smiling. But mine came with ocean waves, peace of mind, and keys to a place he'll never step foot in. The article ran, my story inspiring others, letters arriving from women who'd faced similar betrayals. I read them on my balcony, the sun setting, my heart full. I'd lost a marriage, but gained a life, mine, on my terms. Yet the note's sender nagged at me. Who knew my fight so well? And the shelter women, some mentioned odd calls, hang-ups, like someone checking in. Was it Malcolm, Kendra, or another shadow from my past? I stood, the sea breeze cool, my resolve firm. I'd beaten cancer's worst, Malcolm's greed, Kendra's gall. If someone was watching, let them come. I was Velma Richardson, survivor, homeowner, free. The ocean stretched before me, endless and strong, like the fight I'd won. But I kept my phone close, my notebook ready, knowing the truth was out there, and I'd face it, head on, with the strength I'd earned. If you're still listening, thank you. I know what it feels like to be thrown out when you're already fighting to stay alive. But I hope this story reminds you that even betrayal can be fuel for rebirth. What's one thing you've had to reclaim after someone tried to break you? Let's talk in the comments. Don't forget to subscribe for more real-life stories just like this.